What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here. Today to talk about trading up and just trading in general. I had a recent card show this past week, Sunday. My normal Canton show got moved from Saturday to Sunday because the venue that they were at had an event. Went out Sunday morning. I usually know most of the vendors there. There were some different people set up this time. 101 from Cleveland was set up there. A couple other vendors that are there on occasion, but I don't normally run into were there. So a little different mix of inventory. You never know what you're going to see. Anytime you walk into a show, even if it's one you go to every month, you never know what you're going to run into, whether it be at a dealer table or maybe just the guy beside you see something he likes in your case. In this case, I found something that I wanted at the 101 table, and rather than paying cash for it, I traded for it. So I just kind of wanted to walk through that process a little bit today. My thought process behind it. Obviously, I don't do the vlog style stuff, so you can't see the deal in real time. Sasha T style or Roth card style. Sheesh. Is what it is. But I kind of wanted to walk through the mental process and kind of how I got into it. So the card in question, like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down below. The card in question that I acquired, once again, if you follow me on IG, you would have seen this already. I picked up another Luka Optic Holo PSA 9. This is now my third one. We have the triplets here of the Luka Optic Holo 9s. So, I walked around the show for a little bit, and this immediately jumped out at me as a card that I wanted. Made a couple laps. I got there early, or not early, right as the show opened. I was waiting for a few dealers to finish setting up. Once they did, kind of took the lap around the room. This was the main card that I decided that I wanted. I asked him what his price was on it. He was at $1,300 cash, or $1,300 was his asking price. That was with no negotiation, no back and forth. I knew, because I'm very familiar with the comps on this card, having owning two of them already, that the last comp was at $1,250, and the one prior to that was $1,225. So his initial ask of $1,300 is not that far out of bounds. Would I expect to pay $1,300 if I just, threw cash on the table? No. Is that a fair number to put on a sticker price? Sure. Slightly above last comp. To me, that is more than reasonable. I would not have just bought the card straight out with cash, most likely. I had the money. I could have purchased it. I could have made him a cash offer. Open up at $1,050 or something, try to end up around $1,100 or whatever, get it 10-15% below eBay. But already having two of them, it was not a card that I wanted to put cash out of my stash for. I would rather use that for things that I don't have, or, something that you can't make a trade for. So I said, is there anything that you're looking for? Take a look through the case or whatever. And he flipped through the case, pulled a bunch of stuff out. Pulled 4 cards out, actually. And he knew exactly what I was looking for going in, which was helpful for him because he knew in the back of his mind what number he needed to try to get to. And I said, like last comp's $1,250. I said, I'm fine using that as trade value. It was just a couple days ago. And he was perfectly fine with that as well. So he started pulling stuff out. He pulled out the Trae Young PSA 10 cracked ice, the red ice that I had, PSA 9, Trae Young rookie. He pulled out the silver Trae Young PSA 9s that I had, which I have 3 of. He pulled out a Zion pink camo mosaic PSA 10 and a Darius Garland silver PSA 9 that I have. And then we started, going back and forth on it. He's like, would you move all the Trae Young silvers for it? Those currently comped at about $425 a piece was the number that we agreed at. And I said I would move one. I didn't want to move all 3 of them. So he set one of those to the side. Any issue moving the Trae Young red ice? I said no. We checked comps. Last comp was $500. Then he pulled a Zion. I think last comp on that was $175. Basically, we ended up at $11. He had $1,100. I decided to keep the Garland silver. I thought comps were a little low on it. Ended up at $1,100 in trade value on my end. So we were a little short. He said, I can flip through and see if there's something that I want. Is there anything else that you want from me? And I said, that's pretty much the main card that I want. And this is the time where, sometimes it's just best to keep these things simple. I executed this exact same tactic with the Tatum checkerboard 2 weeks ago at 101. Rather than make the deal more complex, I just cut straight to the chase. I said, listen, we're close. You know, you're at 1,100 in trade value. On my end, I'm giving you, you're at 1,250 trade value on your end. I said, give me a cash number that we need to just bridge this gap. And let's just do cash rather than, you know, try to find a card that I'm willing to give up that we both value around the same. Because I've seen deals lost on stupider things. Same thing with the checkerboard. The card that I wanted, or that I was giving him, was $700 trade value. The card that he had was $950 in trade value. You know, there really wasn't a ton else that he saw. He was digging, and I said, just give me a cash number. Let's just keep this simple. And yeah, there was a little bit of back and forth on the cash in this deal too. I think he opened up at he said like 125 cash, which would have put the deal at 1225. And I said, how about 100? And he stuck his hand out and we shook, done deal. Now, the reason that I like, and the reason most people like trading into things, is one, it's less cash out of your pocket. The other advantageous thing is, you know, on your side of the table, and the dealer knows as well, what they're into their card for. So he knows whatever he paid for this. Maybe he got it for $800 a few weeks ago or a few months ago in the summer when they were $850. So he knows how much wiggle room he has on it. The same is true on my end. So this card here, I gave up the red Trey Ice PSA 9, a PSA 10 Zion pink camo, and a PSA 9 silver Trae Young, and $100 in cash. I am into this card, and this, like I said, recent comp is $1,250 on this. I am into this particular Luka Optic Holo for $545 because I traded into it. The Trae Red Ice, I was into for nothing. $0. $0. Now you might say, Rob, how the hell were you into a Trae Red Ice for $0? And it was because I traded for it. I traded for that card at the National. Comps on it at the time were $325. I moved a Luka base Prism BGS 9 True Gem that I was into for $40 because I bought it in 2018, 2019, early 2019. Or no, I'm sorry, 2018. Early 2019. In March of 2019 for $45-50. That at the time of the National, I believe, was a $500 or $600 card. I don't remember the exact number. I think it was $550. And I traded that to the kid for the Red Ice Trae, and I got cash back. So I was into the Trae for $0 in my mind. Because the card that I sold or traded was 500 and some bucks. I was into it for 25 or 50, whatever. I think 50. Let's just call it 50. And I got a $325 card back in return. And I think he kicked me like $150 in cash. I'd have to check my notes regardless. So now I have a Trae Red Ice and cash. And I was into that card for $0 now. $0 cost basis on that card. Sure, we could get into opportunity costs and all that nonsense. That's not how I run my books. Maybe you do it a different way. That's you. So I picked up that card, which I thought was undervalued at the time. I thought the Prism base was Prism base. You can find that stuff anywhere. The Trae Silver PSA 9 is a card that I bought a couple months ago, or like a month ago now. When I thought that that card was undervalued, I picked up 3 of them at a cost average of $370 a piece. They're currently at $425, which I think is a fair number, maybe a tad low, but I think that that's about right. It's more accurate than what it was before. And then the Zion Pink Camo was a card that I pulled raw and sent it in for grading. So I was into the cello pack for I bought that at retail at a local CVS or Walgreens, one of the drugstores. And I paid, I think, $40 or $50 to grade that regular service. I don't remember, maybe 40. I don't remember what the PSA submission costs were at the time, but that came back at PSA 10. And that was like a $175 card that I was into for $60, $50. I don't remember the exact amount. Because it was basically the cost of the pack plus grading fees. So I was into that for next to nothing. So now all of a sudden I'm getting $600 off basically off the price of the card because of what I was into the other ones for. So now I'm into this for $525. It currently comps for $12.50. And in my mind, I consolidated down 3 cards into 1 card. Now, I did open up a little bit more risk because it's all into 1 player. Prior to this, I had a Trey, a Zion, and a Trey. Now I just have a Luka. So my risk is a little bit higher because it's all in the 1 player and what that one individual player does versus it being spread out across multiples. But I just feel like this card, one, I feel like Luka Optic Holo 9s are undervalued even at $12.50. I didn't want to necessarily pay cash $12.50 for it, but trading into it all day long. The other thing is that, to me, this card has more upside than those other ones did, especially for what I was into them for. Maybe the silver PSA 9 has a little bit of room still. But the Trey Red Ice at 500 felt like a very strong comp for that card. I think that's about what it's worth, at least into the run-up to the season. Maybe it goes up a little bit more. I just feel like this has more... I would say it has equal liquidity as the Trey Red Ice, but it's just a bigger card and it has the advantages to up me again. So, I turned those pieces and parts into a nicer, better card, in my opinion. Now, the trick is trading up. It sounds great on paper. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to give you a pile of smaller cards for a bigger, nicer card. Sounds easy. Trick is, and this is what I talk about a lot. A lot. You need to have things that people want. And that's where it comes down to. If you're going, and like I said, this is me. I'm going to card shows. I'm going to trade nights. This is not my full-time gig. I'm not going to shows every weekend. I go to my local shows. I go to all my local shows. That's about 2 or 3 a month. I go to any trade nights that pop up. That's maybe 1 every 2 months, hopefully a little more frequently now because I have 101 doing them and I have Card Collector 2 doing them. Hopefully not on the same weekend again. And other random shows sprinkled in. When I walk into that show or trade night, I want to make sure that my case has things in it that people are going to want, even if it's lower dollar stuff. A PSA 10 Zion pink camo is not an expensive card, but Zion in a non-base is a popular card. The Trae Youngs were PSA 9s, but they were color. They weren't base. That was part of the reason why at the National, I moved the Luka base for the Red Ice Trae. One, because Luka base is everywhere. People want it, but not everyone wants it. And if you're trying to trade up into better things, people are going to want color. Especially if you're dealing with a dealer, they want things that are liquid, that they could put in their case and that are going to move. And if those are the deals that you're looking to make, it's important that's the stuff that's in your case. That's the other reason why, and why people give a segment of people give me a lot of hell for it, that I am so pro PSA. It's not that I'm pro PSA as a grading company. I'm pro PSA because that is what the secondary market wants. I've talked about this tons of times before. If your cards are in CSG, SGC, HGA, BGS to a lesser degree, a little less so with them, but the alternative grading companies, you are limiting your audience. There are a certain segment of people, whether they are right or wrong, I am not here to judge them, but there is a certain segment of people that only really care about PSA and BGS cards to a lesser degree. And if you show SGC, CSG, HGA cards around, part of the room, whether it is right or wrong or not, I am not here to judge. Part of the room is going to, for lack of a better term, ignore those cards or not want them. I know that a Trae Young Silver PSA 9 is about as liquid gets when it comes to ultra modern NBA. Hot player, PSA slab, in a 9 or a 10, silver, the main primary color that everybody wants. We're in the lead up to NBA season. It's a no-brainer. When you're looking to trade for things, look to make those sorts of deals. Can you get rid of something that is less liquid, less desirable for something that is more liquid, more desirable? In the case of the previous trade that led to this one, the Luka Prism for the Trae Red Ice, and I got cash on top. That was just bonus. But when comps balance out like that, make that sort of move. To go back to the last deal that I made, moving the Trey Premium Box scope for the Tatum checkerboard. That was a matter of, they're both super short print cards. They're both kind of, I don't want to call them niche cards, but the Premium Box is definitely a little bit of a niche card. The only reason I picked that up is because I felt like I got a screaming deal on it at $500 or $550 when I got it on Star Stock. Got it in, had it around. A lot of people were interested in it. Never ended up selling it. Never ended up moving it. And then, that gentleman wanted it, found something that I wanted of his, and I swapped it for the checkerboard. There was 2 reasons I did that deal. One, to limit my risk on Trae Young, because I had a lot of Trae Young at the time. I have less now, but I still have a lot. To get a nicer Tatum, because I did not have a nicer Tatum. I had some nice Tatum base, Prism Select, but I did not have a nice Tatum card, like a flagship card, if you will. The Mosaic PSA 10 was probably my best one. I wanted the checkerboard is a very desirable card. Checkerboards are rare. They do not come up very often, and that card is always going to grab attention. Now, I am not looking to move that card anytime soon. But when I do, a lot of people at like a trade night or a card show are going to be interested in that card. It just is what it is. That card will draw more eyes to it, assuming both players play relatively the same. Let's assume Trae and Tatum have about the same season. I actually think Tatum probably has a little bit more upside from an MVP standpoint, but regardless, let's just assume they both have what their expected seasons are. The Tatum checkerboard, I think, has a much higher upside than the Premium Box does, and because it's a checkerboard, and also from my personal perspective, it helped diversify me a little bit. So when you're making these deals, factor that stuff in mind. And once again, I am taking this from the angle of flipping this stuff. I am not taking it from if you're trading for a card that you want for your PC, that's an entirely different story. You're making a deal for a card that you want to hold, to display, to do whatever that you desire for your own personal reasons. 100% take that off the table. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about deals to upgrade your collection, your case, whatever, to then take that asset that you just acquired and turn it into a bigger asset later on down the line, whether that's a trade or just selling it. I could have just as easily sold that stuff. I would rather trade because I like Luka Optic Holo 9s. It's a card that I still feel is undervalued, and I wanted to acquire more of them, and that was a way going about it, that I only had to spend $100 in cash. Now, like I said, I am into this card for $545. That allows me, one, to roll the dice with a little bit more. I can hold it in the season. I can hold it longer because I have a lot more wiggle room before I go upside down on it. So, no brainer from that perspective as well. I can hold that one a lot longer because they're currently at $12.50, or I could use it as a leverage. So now I have 3 of these now. And once again, the other thing that I always talk about, getting multiples. This right here gives me options. And, 2 of these I bought at the National. One of these, I don't know which one. One I got at the National and one I got at the Rated Rip show. This one at the National cost me, the National one I'm into for $750. I traded a Marvel card for it. That only thing I was into it was cost of grading, which took $100 off the price. And I did $750 cash for the rest. And the Marvel card I was into for nothing because I'd already paid off all those costs. So one of these I'm into for $750. Another one I'm into for $925. I paid straight cash for that. Now, that is cash that I made from selling other stuff. So it's not like it was straight cash out of my wallet. It was, but it wasn't. It was out of the fun money pile. And then this one I traded plus a little bit of cash for. I'm into for $545. So the 3 of these combined, I am into for just over a little of $2,200. I have about $2,200 into these 3 Luka Optic Holos. Their current value is about $3,750. So, because at about $12.50 a piece, give or take. So I could easily, once again, having multiples gives me options. I could take these 2 at around $2,500 and move into a bigger, better card. And people are always, not everybody, But Luka Optic Holo PSA 9s are going to appeal to a lot of people in the room, whatever that room is. I'm using room figuratively there. It could be room at a trade night, room at a card show, room as in a Facebook group, as in a Discord, as in MySlabs, as in eBay. These, priced correctly, will move extremely fast 9 times out of 10. Obviously, unless he's hurt or something like that. So that's just me kind of walking you through my process for acquiring this card, how it kind of led there, and then just kind of the process of building out the inventory so you have the things that people want. If I can tell you right now, if that was still the Luka base BGS 95 True Gem in the case and not the Trae Young Red Prism, I would wager he would not pull out the Luka base Prism. I would almost bet my life on it that card would not have gotten pulled out of the case, but the Trae Red Ice did. Almost positive. The only reason why I think that is because I had Luka Optic base in my case, 2 PSA 10s that he blew right by, didn't even look at. And the fact that he pulled color out for everything else out. So, in my opinion, anytime you can move base for color in a trade, I would do it. Even if you're trading down. Like in that case, I was technically trading down. The Luka base Prism at the time was 550 trade value. The Red Ice tray was 300, but I got that and cash back. So value-wise, it equaled out, but the tray is going to be more desirable because it's a color match. It's a sexy looking card. It is not just a base card that are a dime a dozen. So hope this was helpful. Don't know if it was. Hopefully it was. If it was, let me know in the comments down below. A little bit of story time mixed in with a little bit of nonsense. So like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff down below. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.